The media greatly influences society. They inform people about what is happening. It permeates people's lives by creating their own criteria and opinions. In this way, the media moves the masses, creating different social movements.
For over 60 years, the people of Ambazonia were deprived of such privileges. The privilege to enhance their own criteria and opinion. They have suffered cultural genocide for 6 long decades, but not in this age and not with undaunted ABC Amba News on board.
You must understand that wars are fought and won in the media. The speed of the revolution on Ambazonia's quest for freedom cannot be explained without highlighting the diligent use of the media.
Franco-Cameroon colonizers, among other strategic moves, weaponized the media against Ambazonia for so long, and they continue to do so even today. The question would be, how much do the oppressed people of Ambazonia need to counter the media rage?
Indeed, how much more is required to stop the genocide? The carnage in Ambazonia didn't start today. In 1961, 1972, 1984, and 1992, Ambazonians were slaughtered in huge numbers and help was not forthcoming. Why? Because the oppressor was the piper in the media.
The good news is we have what it takes to dictate the pace.
Right now, ABC Amba TV is taking advantage of the wonders of multimedia aggressively
to inform the misinformed and disinformed with undaunted and other revolutionary programs bringing it to the news untold stories.
Most importantly, to win the media war by taking ABC Amba TV into every multimedia platform.
In a word, where the importance of storytelling can never be overemphasized, Ambazonians has to tell her own story, not the other way round.
And like we say it always, Ambazonia must narrate her story accurately. We can do this together, you know, right? You are just a click away. Visit our website at www.abcambatv.com, and the steps are quite simple.
With just a click on the website, you can become a club member with so many benefits.
You can also make a one-time donation, advertise and showcase your goods and services at the marketplace on the website.
That was easy, right? You're welcome on board.
And thank you for opting for the winning team. Get trained as an IT professional from the comfort of your home. Dynamic Tech Academy gives you a unique opportunity through our 6-month program, during which you learn skills to transition to being a full-time IT professional. Over 80% of our students have no prior IT background, yet the vast majority of them land jobs a month after they start applying. Our ultimate goal is to reach 100% student placement, so we work with every student until he or she gets a job. Upon successful completion of the course, we will give you a resume, interview preps, one-on-one coaching from experienced instructors, and job placement assistance. Within this course, you get more than 300 hours of theories combined with real-world applications and practical skills you can apply on day one on your job. At the end of the program, our students can be certified as Red Hat Systems Administrator, AWS Cloud Engineer, AWS Security Specialist. Visit our website at www.dynamictechacademy.com to register.
We the people, ABC Amba TV, Draft. Ambazonia Broadcasting Corporation. The voice of the voiceless, the voice of Ambazonia, connecting the world from Africa. With untold stories, Africa's best.
Good evening and welcome to Undaunted, bringing into the news untold stories. I am Star Smart. Let's begin. My ship knows me, they hear my voice. Indeed, Ambazonians boycotted the purported 30-day lockdown big time. After a successful weekend for ABC Amba TV, the ABC Amba TV draft, genuine Ambazonian activist went out aggressively to debunk the insensitive purported lockdown. Today, all across the 13 counties of Ambazonia was business as usual. It would appear that the mastermind behind such irrationality has positioned himself as the sacrifice of Ambazonian volunteers who have mounted the courage to pick arms and to confront the enemy. According to reports, close to 13 able Ambazonian fighters associating with either directly or via his proxies have targeted and neutralized within only 1 week. How on earth is this possible? Let's think for 1 minute that he is sincere in his fight for the nation of Ambazonia. What is his strategy? Is it a blood-sucking machinery? Who benefits from such outrageousness? Putting 1 and 2 together, you will agree with me that AGOF-C head boy Choayaba has to be checked. The so-called unity warriors enhanced by the same individual appear to be killing Ambazonian civilians and self-defense volunteers more than even the might of the La République du Cameroon's colonial military. What indeed is happening? Who is going to halt the carnage? If you do not see why President Sako calls them the Unity Palace Warriors, at least Undaunted ABC Amba Newsroom can testify. US President Biden brags of America's military triumph now that Zawahiri, a successor of bin Laden, has been neutralized. The United Nations laments in Congo after peacekeepers have been victims of armed attacks. But critics say it is the absence of a sustainable frame to prevent the escalation of conflict by the same system. Therefore, the UN is to be blamed for my own comprehensiveness. Do you want more of tonight's Undaunted? Let's get the prime headlines first.
Prime headlines for today, August 2nd, 2022. The U.S. has killed the leader of Al-Qaeda, Ayman al-Zawahiri, in a drone strike in Afghanistan. President Joe Biden has confirmed that. UN peacekeepers in deadly shooting in eastern DR Congo. UN forces admit deadly shooting at DR Congo borders post. The IG and the entire home front distances themselves from a certain Cho Ayaba's call for a 1-month lockdown. Updated county and departmental rota tentative schedules has been released. And in sports, Premier League captain in talks over whether to continue talking about his knee injury. The U.S. has killed the leader of Al-Qaeda, Ayman al-Zawahiri, in a drone strike in Afghanistan. President Joe Biden has confirmed that incident. He was killed in a counter-terrorism operation carried out by the CIA in the Afghan capital Kabul on Sunday. He and Osama bin Laden piloted the 1911 attacks together, and he was one of America's most wanted terrorists. This is where we begin the full briefings of tonight's Undaunted. Tonight on Undaunted, we will be having Dr. Kizito Elad, the Secretary of State for Foreign Affairs. I am Onyi Opbala, and Mr. Smart is here. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Onyi. Mr. Biden said al-Zawahiri had carved a trail of murder and violence against American citizens. From hiding, he coordinated Al-Qaeda's branch in all around the world, including setting priorities for providing operational guidance and calling for and inspiring attacks against U.S. targets. The president said this in a live television address from the White House. Now justice has been delivered and this terrorist leader is no more, he added. The FBI updated its most wanted terrorist poster on Monday with Zawahiri's status deceased. The 71-year-old Egyptian doctor took over Al-Qaeda's after the death of bin Laden in 2011. Mr. Biden said he had given the final approval for this precision strike after months of planning. Officials said Zawahiri was on the balcony of a safe house when the drone fired 2 missiles at him. Other family members were present, but they were unharmed and only Zawahiri was killed in the attack, they added.
Mr. Biden said Zawahiri's killing will bring closure to families of the nearly 3,000 victims of the 2001 attacks in which hijackers crashed passengers' jets into landmark buildings in New York and Washington, including 2 skyscrapers in Manhattan. Some 344 firefighters were also killed. Andrew Asbro, president of the New York Firefighters Association, thanked Mr. Biden for helping to bring another level of closure to all impacted by those and these attacks. Mr. Biden said that Zawahiri had also masterminded other acts of violence, including the suicide bombings of the USS Cole naval destroyer in Aden in October 2000, which killed 17 U.S. sailors, and the 1998 attacks on the U.S. embassies in Kenya and Tanzania, in which 223 people died. Douglas Diallo lost his sight in the Kenyan attack and told BBC Newsday that while he never condones violence, news of Zawahiri's death is welcomed. It is good that it has happened, that they are bringing down those who were behind these heinous and barbaric acts of cowardice around the world, Mr. Sadilu said. The attack in Kabul early Sunday morning rocked the center of the capital. We heard it on our streets nearby. Since then, speculation has swirled around who or what hit this empty house in the Chapar neighborhood known for its gaudy multi-storied villas. Hours after President Biden announced news of Zawahiri's death, workers in buildings nearby told us no one lived in the villa, whose balconies are now covered with plastic sheetings. Adjacent shops were told by the Taliban to close their rooftops. Taliban guards pushed journalists, sometimes forcefully, away from the scene. The streets are quiet. The news is explosive. It again highlights the weaknesses of the 2020 U.S. Taliban deal.
The Taliban say they agreed Afghanistan would never again be a base to launch attacks against the United States, but they never agreed to sever all links to groups like Al-Qaeda, including their longtime brother-in-arms, Ayman al-Zawahiri. A Taliban spokesman described the U.S. operation as a clear violation of international principles, but did not mention Zawahiri. U.S. officials maintained that the operation had a legal basis. Under a peace deal struck in 2020, the Taliban agreed not to allow Al-Qaeda or any other extremist group to operate in areas under their control. However, the Taliban and Al-Qaeda are longtime allies, and U.S. officials said the Taliban were aware of Zawahiri's presence in Kabul, and he lived freely and in the open in the Afghan capital. Zawahiri's killing comes nearly a year after Mr. Biden withdrew U.S. troops from Afghanistan, bringing an end to a 20-year military presence there, and allowing the Taliban to retake control of the country by force. In background briefings, U.S. intelligence officers accused Taliban affiliates of going to the safe house after the strike to try to cover up evidence of Zawahiri's presence there. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken said that by hosting and sheltering Zawahiri in Kabul, the Taliban had grossly violated the peace agreement. The drone strike is the first known U.S. intervention inside Afghanistan since the military pullout last August, and despite the withdrawal, the decades-old war on terror grinds on, the BBC's North American correspondent John Sudworth observes. Days before the withdrawal, a miscalculated U.S. drone strike killed 10 innocent people in Kabul, including an aid worker and 7 children. The U.S. said it had been a tragic mistake and had been aiming to target a local branch of the so-called Islamic State jihadist group. Biden says victory has been served, but there's a video to watch.
My fellow Americans, on Saturday, at my direction, the United States successfully concluded an airstrike in Kabul, Afghanistan that killed the emir of Al-Qaeda, Ayman al-Zawahiri. You know, Zawahiri was bin Laden's leader. He was with him the whole time. He was his number 2 man, his deputy at the time the terrorist attack of 9/11. He was deeply involved in the planning of 9/11. One of the most responsible for the attacks that murdered 2,977 people on American soil. For decades, he was the mastermind behind attacks against Americans, including the bombing of the USS Cole in 2000, which killed 17 American sailors and wounded dozens more. He played a key role in the bombing of U.S. embassies in Kenya and Tanzania, killing 224 and wounding over 4,500 others. He carved a trail of murder and violence against American citizens, American service members, American diplomats, and American interests. And since the United States delivered justice to bin Laden 11 years ago, Zawahiri has been a leader of Al-Qaeda, the leader. From hiding, he coordinated Al-Qaeda's branches and all around the world, including setting priorities for providing operational guidance that called for and inspired attacks against U.S. targets. He made videos, including in recent weeks, calling for his followers to attack the United States and our allies. Now, justice has been delivered, and this terrorist leader is no more. People around the world no longer need to fear the vicious and determined killer. The United States continues to demonstrate our resolve and our capacity to defend the American people against those who seek to do us harm. You know, we make it clear again tonight that no matter how long it takes, no matter where you hide, if you are a threat to our people, the United States will find you and take you out.
All right, now let's go to Africa. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres said he was outraged by the deaths of Sunday of 2 people when peacekeepers opened fire at a border post with Uganda in the troubled Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo. Guterres stresses in the strongest terms the need to establish accountability for these events and endorses the detention of military personnel involved in this incident and the immediate investigation. A statement from the Secretary General's deputy spokesman, Faram Haq, he said, now, in a video of the incident shared on social networks, men, at least one dressed as a police officer and another as a Congolese soldier, are seen advancing towards the convoy stopped on the other side of the closed fence in Kasindi, in the territory of Beni, on the border with Uganda.
And after verbal exchange, the alleged peacekeepers are seen firing shots before opening the gate and crossing the post. Soldiers from the Intervention Brigade of the MONUSCO force returning from leave opened fire at the border post for unexplained reasons and forced their way through. This serious incident caused loss of life and serious injuries. This was what the UN mission said in a statement. The toll is 2 dead. Joel Keat Asso, a civil society leader in Kasindi, told AFP, adding that 14 people were injured. Earlier, Barthélemy Kambale Siva, the North Kivu governor's delegate in Kasindi, had given a toll of 8 seriously injured, including 2 policemen from the border post. The head of MONUSCO, Bintu Keita, said she was deeply shocked and dismayed by this serious incident, according to the mission's statement. Faced with this unspeakable and irresponsible behavior, the perpetrators of the shooting have been identified and arrested, pending the conclusions of the investigation, which has already begun in collaboration with the Congolese authorities, said MONUSCO.
Now, contacts have also been established with the country of origin of the soldiers so that a judicial procedure can be initiated urgently with the participation of the victims and witnesses so that exemplary sanctions can be taken as soon as possible. The UN mission added without mentioning the nationality of these peacekeepers. Now, the DRC government condemns and strongly deplores these unfortunate incidents, the provisional toll of which is 2 compatriots dead and 15 others injured, its spokesman Patrick Muyaya said in the evening. In conjunction with MONUSCO, the authorities have initiated an investigation to establish responsibility to find out the motives for such a crime and to obtain severe sanctions against peacekeepers behind this strategy, he confirmed. He says, leave the place. Kinshasa, which has called on the Congolese population to remain calm, warns that peacekeepers concerned will no longer be able to be part of the MONUSCO contingent pending the outcome of the plan to withdraw these UN forces from the DRC.
Just last week, deadly demonstrations accompanied by destruction and looting took place in several towns in eastern DRC to demand the departure of the United Nations. In Goma, Butembo, Beni and other towns, protesters stormed MONUSCO facilities. 19 people, including 3 peacemakers, were killed in the violent protest. The protesters accused the peacekeepers of ineffectiveness in fighting the 100 or so armed groups responsible for the chaos that has plagued the eastern provinces for nearly 30 years. One of the largest and most expensive UN missions in the world, MONUSCO has been in the DRC since 1999. It currently has more than 14,000 peacekeepers with an annual budget of $1 billion. On a visit to the DRC, Jean-Pierre Lacroix, head of the UN Peace Department, said Saturday that he had come to talk with the Congolese authorities to examine the means by which we can both avoid the recurrence of these tragic incidents and above all, work better together to achieve our objectives. He says, we hope that the condition will be met, particularly the return of state authority, so that MONUSCO can complete its mission as soon as possible and make way for other forms of international support.
Now we have in the studio Dr. Kizito Elliott, who is of course the Secretary of State for Foreign Affairs. We have some questions begging for answers, and we hope that as we ask these questions, he will be able to answer them. Now, I'm asking this evening, we have the UN. Why haven't the UN come to the southern Cameroon's Amazonia? That's one. How many lives will be lost or wasted before they come? Now, research from different corners states that they probably make money from some of these conflicts. Because if they do not, the question is, why will they wait till an attack is done before probably providing solutions, before bringing the peace? Or why not just they provide peace instead of trying to, coming to wait for the peace to happen, or probably just avoid it instantly. Now, let's go deeper. From our research also, just last year, 2021, France is the 6th contributor to the regular budget with a share of 4.43% for a contribution of approximately $128 million. Now, its contribution to the regular budget represents a 30% extra cost compared to its national wealth. Now, it is said that he who plays the pipe, of course, dictates the tune. So perhaps France is dictating because as a permanent member of the Security Council, France has a special responsibility in financing peacekeeping operations, which is also known as PKO. Now, its current contribution of 5.61%, that is approximately $325 million over 2021 and 2022, is higher than that of all the G77 countries, which includes China, representing an additional cost of 60% compared to its national wealth. The EU is the second largest contributor to the PKO budget of 23.8% after the United States of 27.9%. But the UN force has admitted to deadly shooting at DR Congo's border post. But that is another report we will take. Now, the question we're asking the question that I am asking is, if they are not making money from this conflict, why don't they avoid this attack? So I would want the Secretary of State for Foreign Affairs, Dr. Kizito Elad, to probably throw more light on this. I would give you a second to probably take water because we want to go on this short break.
You're watching the People's Television, ABC Amba TV, the voice of Ambazonia. Stay tuned. You're watching the People's Television, ABC Amba TV, the voice of Ambazonia. Stay tuned.
All right, Dr. Kizito Elad, you're welcome. You're welcome to Undaunted tonight. Please say something so that we can confirm that you're audible enough.
So can you hear me now?
Yes, very well. All right,
So
Dr.
it's my
Kizito,
pleasure
we're
being with
asking
you
if
again.
the UN probably makes money from all of these peacekeepings, because if not, why do they wait for an attack instead of avoiding these attacks?
Well, good. I don't know. Just say good day because day contains evening, morning, and afternoon. So good day for televiewers and special greetings to the home front. Um, it's always a pleasure being with you, girls. In fact, I listened to all your introductions, your analog, and I was so pleased that ABC has gone so far, has progressed so immense that we can be international. Let me go straight to your question. It is really difficult to answer yes or a no on when it comes to the UN. In fact, we call it a game, you know, but not really a game like enjoying something, but a game which is the politics in the UN is so intertwined that we all must stand up and say there must be a change in that so-called five-man Security Council. Five people cannot sit down to decide the fate of the world today. So, and if you start telling the UN the truth, you are always quickly tarnish, and put a cliche on you as somebody who is radical terrorist and all that. You know the world today. You guys have done your research. I saw and I heard about all what you people have said. Who is paying what? The European Union, France. You just have to know that France is the permanent member of the Security Council. And why is France there? Why some other countries are not there? I mean, you have the G8 or the G20 that people say it. And I just watched a video from one guy who is concerned with the World Food Organization, who was saying there should be G21 and not G20. But Africans also have to get a person there who is in charge of promoting and putting pressure on the people to understand the African affairs. So the world is so much in the big politics that we cannot lose in it today. I remember when I started my PhD, the first book I read was Loosening the Knot. I was like, what has that got to do with my studies? But it was telling you that you have to, there is a knot that has been put, tangled together, and you have to do a PhD, you have to remove each and every thread one after the other for you to come out with an end solution. And that is what we have to do with the United Nations. They are out there just to make money or to compete among themselves. Most of you have witnessed their debate on the Security Council. If it's something that has to do with Israel, America will vote against. If it's something that has to do with Russia, China will vote. If you see, they are there playing their games, and they also don't want to annoy each other. If Russia want to stand against France, America will quickly be against Russia. So they have their game that they play, and we have done a lot of diplomacy, and I can remember we haven't really hot discussion with Obama, and I will not tell you people anything other than what he said. He does not want to get into conflict with France. So you can see all these games that is happening, and you will know that these people, there is nothing called United Nation. It's just a disunited nation. There is one author called Peter Sinon. If you guys follow up this guy, you will know that there is this united nation, and it has to be united before anything will work. You can see what is happening in the Congos. You can see what is happening in all the peacekeeping countries that are happening, the rape cases, the killings, the whatever, you can name it. So the foreign policy is really not an easy um, 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 part to work, but we still have to concentrate on it.
All right, Dr. Kizitoela, thank you so much. You have interactions with other clients. Now, as the SOS for Foreign Affairs, do you think that because of the huge contribution from France, which is what we have stated here, I'm trying to get back that figure, where as at 2021, which was just last year, they were given the sixth major contributor to the regular budget with a share of 4.43%. Now, are you thinking that because of that contribution, that may be the reason why the UN hasn't come to the aid of Southern Ambazonians, Southern Cameroonians, that's Ambazonians? Do you think that that could be the reason? Do you think that that could be the force that is reducing or limiting the UN to come to our aid?
Well, that also plays a role. That plays a part in all that. Money speaks. And that is why we always tell Amazonian people to go and draft, because money speaks. As I always say, I always quote my ring, who like this word that talk is cheap. You can talk and talk and talk. When they don't see where the money comes, you waste your time. Money speaks, and without money, nothing works. And France is speaking with money when it takes it from La République du Cameroon and passes it to the UN. Then the UN is reluctant to come to the aid. First of all, the UN is not coming. Let me correct this. The UN is not coming to the aid of Amazonia. The UN is coming to do the right thing, because the documents are there, sealed in the United Nations head office in Washington, D.C., or in the New York. So they have all the votes that Amazonia had when there was for our independence. The abstentia, the countries, the majority that voted for us to be an independent country. The UN knows that. So It's money now that is blocking them not to come, because how can you come and be doing something when you know the truth and you know that these people already had their independence and were voted for? The countries are listed there, the archives are there, it will never disappear. So only money is blocking them now not to come. As you rightly said it. Also, when they give them money, they tell them, you people just keep quiet. We'll know how, we'll see how we play the games, we'll see how we'll talk with them, we'll see how we'll hammer them. How do we even know that the UN is supporting them with uh, um, 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 equipment to fight us? So this is something that we have to be very careful, and we have to put our eyes on the ground and watch every step that the UN is taking. So
Put
it's
our
money,
eyes.
money, money. Guterres was in Yaoundé. He got his gold and went away. This woman who is in charge of human rights came to Yaoundé, got her own and went. The one of Commonwealth went to Yaoundé, got her own and went. So what do you
Right.
expect? We must draft and use that money either to make the ground hot,
Indeed. Money
or we also
plays.
have our own lobbyists.
Right, right. Indeed, money plays a lot of roles, and this particular story here has a lot of concerns from me. But I think I'll come back to it just after we have this report from Gab Ellison. Money does play a lot of role, but let's have this report from Gab Ellison.
UN Chief Antonio Guterres said he was outraged after 2 people were killed and several others injured when UN peacekeepers opened fire during an incident in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo on the Uganda border on Sunday. The UN force MONUSCO admitted that some of its peacekeepers had opened fire for unexplained reasons, adding that arrests had already been made. Guterres was saddened and dismayed to learn of the shooting, a UN statement said. The Secretary General stresses in the strongest terms the need to establish accountability for these events. He welcomes the decision of his special representative in the Democratic Republic of the Congo to detain the MONUSCO personnel involved in the incident and to immediately open an investigation, it added. Video of the incident shared on social media showed men, at least one in police uniform and another in army uniform, advancing towards the immobilized UN convoy behind a closed barrier in Kasindi. The town is in eastern DR Congo's Beni territory on the border with Uganda. After a verbal exchange, the peacekeepers appeared to open fire before opening the barrier and driving through while people scattered or hid. During this incident, soldiers from the Intervention Brigade of the MONUSCO force returning from leave opened fire at the border post for unexplained reasons and forced their way through, the UN mission in Kasindi said in a statement early on Sunday. This serious incident caused loss of life and serious injuries. The Democratic Republic of Congo strongly condemns and deplores the unfortunate incident in which 2 compatriots died and 15 others were injured, according to a provisional rule. Government spokesperson Patrick Muyaya said in a statement, shocked and dismayed. The government said it launched an investigation with MONUSCO to establish who was responsible, why the shooting took place, and would ensure severe penalties are given. The UN envoy in the Democratic Republic of Congo, Bintou Keita, said she was deeply shocked and dismayed by this serious incident, according to the mission statement. In the face of this unspeakable and irresponsible behavior, the perpetrators of the shooting have been identified and arrested pending the conclusions of the investigation, which has already begun in collaboration with the Congolese authorities, MONUSCO said. The UN mission said the troops' home countries had been contacted so legal action could be commenced promptly with the involvement of witnesses and survivors, which could lead to exemplary penalties. Deadly region. Barthélemy Kambali Siva, the North Kivu governor's representative in Kasindi, said that 8 people, including 2 policemen, who were working at the barrier were seriously injured in the incident. Kambale Siva, interviewed by AFP, did not say why the UN convoy had been prevented from crossing. There are more than 120 militias operating in the DRC's troubled east. The UN first deployed an observer mission to the region in 1999. In 2010, it became the peacekeeping mission MONUSCO, the United Nations Organization Stabilization Mission in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, with a mandate to conduct offensive operations. There have been 230 fatalities among the force, according to the UN. Calls for UN forces to leave. Last week, deadly demonstrations demanding the departure of the United Nations took place in several towns in eastern DRC. A total of 19 people, including 3 peacekeepers, were killed. Anger has been fueled by perceptions that MONUSCO is failing to do enough to stop attacks by the armed groups. UN Under-Secretary General for Peace Operations Jean-Pierre Lacroix was in the Central African country on Saturday to talk to the Congolese authorities. He said they would examine ways in which we can both avoid recurrence of these tragic incidents and above all work better together to achieve our objectives, he said. We hope that the conditions will be met, in particular the return of state authority, so that MONUSCO can complete its mission as soon as possible and to leave room for other forms of international support. Gab Ellison reporting from Dundee, ABC Amba News.
You've heard the report for yourself, and it's really far from exciting. SOS Elad, I think you might want to react to that video.
Well, we have had all this type of games played by international organization and committees. It's the same like in La République du Cameroon when their militias or terrorist militias go to Ambazonia and commit crimes. You will hear that the armies have been arrested, they will be interrogated, but finally you find them sent to countries out of La République, to embassies to be there, and so that everything dies down. I hope and I wish the president of DRC steps in and really put pressure that these people should be investigated, and they should be investigated in DRC. Because when you hear all that their countries have been contacted and they are under investigation, they have been arrested and kept where? They are sitting somewhere, and during all the mafia that they play, night plane, cargo ships, all the time going up and down will carry them away. And in the end, that is it. Those people have lost their life. They are saying 2 people there, but I heard today is more than 2. So we don't know. We can sit down here and pass judgment on what is going to take place. But all I know, and I can tell you with all certainty, that nothing will happen to them. That's it. And let's watch and see. I mean, we need Africans that will stand up for their people and make sure that judgment and justice is being appropriated. So without that, nothing will get.
Thank you so much, SOS Elad. There's a lot to see from this report, and we hope to get into it in more detail in subsequent times. But for now, we'll move on with the news.
We the people, ABC Amba TV, draft. Ambazonia Broadcasting Corporation. The voice of the voiceless, the voice of Ambazonia, connecting the world from Africa. With untold stories, Africa's best.
The Commander-in-Chief of the Ambazonian Defense Forces, ADF, an armed group that has been terrorizing denizens, extorting them, torturing and requesting ransoms in the Ambazonian struggle for liberation, a certain Dr. Cho Ayaba Lucas, has confirmed that they lost 11 fighters in Batibo local government area during a friendly encounter with their colonial La République du Cameroon military, with whom they have been working hand in hand to destroy the Ambazonian quest for freedom. It is said that these arrangements started on July 28, 2022, when their counterparts trekked for long distances as indicated and into the forest to arrive at Enyo, Ewai and Bozum, where the friendly encounter took place at several fronts. According to the propagandist of the Blackleg and sellout ADF, Capo Daniel, the encounter on their bases was well calculated by their friendly La République du Cameroon forces.
He revealed that the ADF was planning to launch an operation to capture a major city. In his words, He said we had rallied over 300 forces in Batibo to carry out an operation called Sunrise, where we would have taken over a major city in Ambazonia and hold for the duration of a lockdown we called that starts today 2nd and ends on Friday 5th of this month. I suppose it's talking about August. Now, the propaganda continues that the ADF also inflicted pains on their friendly La République du Cameroon forces and watched them airlift dead bodies and wounded soldiers 5 times. But the colonial La République du Cameroon military said that only had 11 injuries and killed 15 ADF members. While our forces have regrouped and will enforce the lockdown even as we scrapped the planned Operation Sunrise, Capo concluded.
It remains uncertain how the colonial government forces were aware of such an operation, but being the first time to call a 1-month lockdown. The new military general in Bamenda, General Buba Donekrio, knew something was cooking and decided to attack first before waiting for the commencement of the ADF lockdown, striking the enemy first. However, anyone doubting how the colonial forces knew would be denying the simple truth that the ADF is an ally of the BIR and La République du Cameroon, who have been fighting relentlessly together to destroy the Ambazonian genuine quest for freedom. The Batibo encounter was a mere friendly match to blindfold the world that the new colonial general has started his mission. General Buba is a former commander of the Rapid Intervention Battalion BIR, La République du Cameroon's elite force. He is also known as the man who weakened Boko Haram terrorists in the far north region. His recent appointment to the 5th Military Region has been seen as a strategy to eliminate Ambazonian forces in the region with the tactics they used against the Islamist group.
Now, there's a big question. Where on earth do guerrillas enjoy injunctions? Reacting to this, a certain Ambazonia on social media says, "Of course, I call this incident in Batuber as a free fire between partners and friends. In this case, Ayaba and La République du Cameroon, the losers, are these boys calling themselves ADF and Unity Warriors." He continues to say, "If I may ask, what was the reason of the assembling of the fighters in Mogamo? Aren't we fighting a guerrilla war? Guerrilla fighters don't group together, and worse still, they were coming all the way from Bui, Ngokentuja, and many others. In effect, Ayaba and Cameroon called for a botched 30-day lockdown to neutralize all fighters so that come September, other UNGA Cameroon will say they have defeated the secessionist terrorists, and so there is no need for any international mediation." Now, this is where ANU comes in with the 5-year federation project. If ANU or Ayaba were to play any leadership role, they would be worse than Solomon Tadeng Muna. All right, well, this is what we are thinking, but then we have Dr. Elad here to respond. Probably he has a different response to this. Let's see if he agrees. Dr. Elad, are you still there?
Well, I'm here. I'm still here. I'm here.
All right, go ahead. All right, so
Okay.
yes, go ahead.
Well, I got you, girls. And there is no argument that I will put up that will beat up what you just said. Let me say this. And Amazonians should listen and listen carefully. I was speaking with an Amazonian, I think yesterday or day before yesterday, and he asked me, "Doctor, you sure say these people, they really defied this revolution?" Which means for those who don't understand Pidgin, are you sure these people are really with us fighting this revolution? And I told him, I said, you know what? You will never know if somebody is really for the revolution, except he or her will open the mouth and tell you, I am against you people, I'm just pretending. But we are now seeing some pretentious activities that are coming up. And with all social media, any Tom and Dick has the ability to have a gadget, to have this thing. You sit in your house and just type any rubbish and put it. You can make an audio, you can talk whatever you want. That nonsense called unity force. I mean, those people that they have cut off the air of their stealing. You know why this revolution we are taking, every time we go 2 steps forward, 1 step backward, 2 steps forward, 1 step backward, is because this interim government has cut off, I said it last time, the air of money from people like Cho Ayaba, Kwanga, Buabat, Fontemniba, all those people. Before the revolution, they were going around getting monies, to hundreds of thousands of dollars, flying to South Africa, fly to Japan, fly to China, all those places. Now they cannot do it anymore because Ambazonians, they have opened their eyes. They have heard, they reason, they know what we want. So now the only thing they can do is to cooperate with La République du Cameroon. You see someone like Maggie Kilo. I saw right up here, they raised in their so-called town hall $4,000, and they showed the distribution of the money to the fighters of Ground Zero. Gokutunja 1,000 this, Bui 500 this that. Look, what a bullshit! This is what I am saying, and everybody in this interim government is saying. That's nonsense called unitary or unity force. It's just to group our fighters on the ground for La République to kill them. This is an example. You've seen it, what happened in Badibo. That is a pure. When did Ayaba said the lockdown for 30 days is going to start from the 1st of August, and that same day, these guys, they want to go and regroup themselves to do whatever they want to do, and see 15 of them are gone. And he will sit there and be talking nonsense. As in fact, I said it, that what we are supposed to be doing now is to fish out people here in the diaspora. Forget about those people they call them black legs in Ground Zero. Let's start here, because we have them a lot here. We have those pretenders, people who will show up, pretend as if they are going to die for this revolution. But of course, never. They are not with us. They are not fighting the same fight we're fighting. If someone can go back in 2018, before Ayub Tabe and the rest were arrested, when I made a statement against one lady in this Germany called Mado Mado, who was a staunch person for Ayaba. And I said, Cho Ayaba is not fighting the same revolution that we are fighting. Since 2018, I got reaction from everywhere, people telling me, how can you, this very chair that I'm sitting, talking to the people of Ambazonia, is the same chair Cho Ayaba sat in, this, my very parlor that I'm talking to you guys. When I made that statement, people attacked me from left to right. And today they are coming to see it themselves. They are seeing it themselves. I sat quiet for long. I've been watching Ayaba Cho. I didn't want to have anything to do with him. But it has gone to a level that I cannot hold my... we use the word timber in Amazonia. So you cannot hold, I know if you hold my timber again, wishing me anger. It's too much. Because all this nonsense is all about power, ego, and money. This interim government is doing everything to make sure we arrive Boya safely. All our people enter Boya. But we have other people who have decided that we will not go to that Boya. We will not go. we will sit here and give everything that we have been, all the 40,000 plus that have been killed, all the more than 500 houses, villages that have been burnt, all what we have lost. We still have people among us who want to see us remain slave. We don't want to see us be free. We don't want to see us also sit down and move freely. I get up at 4 o'clock here in the morning and drive to Poland. Drive to Poland. You get up at 4 o'clock and drive to Bamenda and see when you will arrive there from Tico, Victoria, Boya, Kumba, wherever you are. Get up at 4 and drive there and see when you arrive. I drive there and come back and I'm still talking here.
All right, Dr. Elad, before you continue, you made a video that really got us very excited. You know, you were saying some things about driving and showing us roads to some place, Poland, I guess. And, you know, you were advising our brothers and sisters at the home front. I think that they should all see this video because you made mention of something about driving. And I remember that there is a video that you aired out. And I think that everyone should see this video for themselves as well. Please, let's get that video.
So, fellow Ambazonians, great people. Yeah, this is Dr. Elad. Please, I'm just in an area where there's no sun. You can see behind me, that is the highway to Poland. Yeah? So I just want to make this video very short and to thank my people of Ambazonia. The home front, you guys are great. You guys are great guys, yeah? It is time for your own referendum down there in the home front. Una for home front, my talking for pigeon. Una don't already make referendum for show people them, yeah? All those names them. ADF, whatever, APLM, all those people where they try for destroy this revolution, for make sure say mu not reach boya. When I don't tell them say no, enough is enough. Enough is enough. Today na the 2nd of August 2022. Now me, Dr. Elad, I want to thank Home Front for listening to the person and the interim government where it pulled the plug. I know they ever use the word say interim government under Dr. Sako because there is one interim government, and that is the interim government that is being headed by President Sako. So when I don't tell ADF that they are nonsense, where they talk say no lockdown for August, I want to make one thing where I see people that they make mistake. So people that they make mistake, that they talk say August na the month of this and that, and I lie. August na normal month as any other month. The thing is, ADF has no right for put any lockdown. Whether na 1 hour, 1 week, 1 day, 1 year, they not get no right. So when I don't teach them lesson, for sure, who pulls the plug, yeah, who is the leader of this revolution. So all the way people that they make. Home front is moving. Una respect the country Sunday, every Monday. And after that, nothing more. After that, nothing more. Except una hear from una interim government and reason given to you people. Why? Like the last one for 3 days for the Macron visit. Una forget about all those noises where people that they make for diaspora. Yeah, when some of us they suffer for make sure say we will be boya quick. Some of them define leadership, they define position. They want only make money they come for them. So, fellow Ambazonia, as I tell una see play one stand, una see say na highway that for there, na road that, na pole and that overside there. If una fit see them well, some houses there for over there. Make a go. But I just want to thank una, say una show these people them say they not get nothing for talk. And when I don't see, when I don't make the referendum for show them say we not get one leader. And the leader now get for bring together all the other people and more stand. So we will talk that more detailedly, especially on Thursday. Maybe today, if I'm back in Berlin early enough, I will be on ABC and we'll talk more about this. Again, thank you, people. Keep the home front tight. Respect your country Sunday. Listen to this interim government with our leader, Ambazonia leader, President Sako, with his team, and let's make sure we clear the path and pave the way for Rich Boya quick. Thank you, Dr. Elad, your humble servant.
You heard it for yourself. That was Dr. Elad on a video. And indeed, Ambazonians hear the voice of the one true leader and they follow it. You were saying something and would like you to just summarize in a few seconds or in a few minutes so we could go back to the topic of lockdown that you just mentioned in that video, because we have a synopsis of the whole lockdown. Would like you to just briefly continue what you were saying so we move on to the lockdown.
Well, that video, I was driving into Poland and I was getting calls from Ground Zero. In fact, I was calling Ground Zero to know that everything is open. And everywhere I called, from Bamenda to Bambui to Womb, all the areas, Boya, Kumba, Victoria, Butengane, Tiko. I had about 6 or 9 calls. I heard everything is fine. There is nothing. And they were telling me, forget about that Choyaba. Tell him. I mean, they gave me a message to tell him that he has nothing to do in Ground Zero. Nobody recognized him there. So let me pass it through ABC to him. Because as I was saying, when I got all that information that the people are telling me that we have our leader and we've heard from him that there is no lockdown, and from you people, Dr. Elad, so why worry? So I had to stop and make this video, show the people that we are with them. And this is not something of praises or hallelujah. And for those who know me, I am not doing that because I want. There was a time people were saying, Boo Herbert. Let me say this. If he is listening, I think his surrogates will pass it to him. We had an argument in ACT and he said, yeah, sing song for Dr. Sako so that may promote you. I was then the chief of staff and I asked him, what position can be more than, again, this position that I am? Do I want to be the president? No, I don't want to be the president. So he cannot promote me to president, Elad to President Sako. So my sisters, let us continue. The lockdown will never and ever be respected. And mark you, even those who are against this interim government made videos and audios condemning. That is 1 month thing. This 1 month thing is just for making people to sit home, and he will send these La Republique people to identify where they are, and they will come and eliminate all of us, all of them. That is the reason why that thing is happening. Look, I have said it and I will keep saying it. I didn't want to be talking about this guy. But let me tell you, it's enough. One of his strongest Secretary of State, Dr. Laria Yamba, is a brother to me. And I decided that we should really play the game. The president has tried everywhere, every means to make sure that there is some type of collaboration between all the groups, the people who call themselves group. I listened to the Vice President, Eric Ate, today. I love the way he put his own audio. In fact, he said something. You call yourself group. People who can never. Let me ask question to Amazonia people. When you say we go out there, because there are some good people in this interim government who say when you go, don't call names. No. If you don't call names, people will not realize what they are doing. What has ADF ever done to this revolution for the past 3-4 years? Have they bought even a bag of rice to the IDPs who are in Nigeria? The refugees that have run, the displaced people there? Have they treated any wounded soldier? Have they visited or consoled any mother or father or family who have lost their children? Have they done anything with the IDPs who are living in neighboring La République du Cameroon? What has APLM done? What has Maurice done? What has Fontaine Miba and Maggie Kilo and Emma Osong and all the rest? What have they done? Man, you sit down and listen to names of people who do nothing. And we sit every day here, the whole night, drafting, looking for money, feeding. You've seen what the Department for Health and for, under Dr. Tita is doing in Nigeria, doing with the prisoners that are there in Kondengi, doing with the IDPs that are there. I myself, Abdul Karim, if he is honest enough, he would tell you what me and him have done down there to the IDPs, people back home, and the Southern Cameroon Community Germany. What have all these groups that they call that? You think to what is leadership? It's just to come and stand with your father, your mother, your grandfather, your child. As the I like the way the Vice President Ate said, your wife, your granddaughter, your whatever. You stand and call yourself leader. A leader must be working for the people and with the people, not just sit down in your house and create a group and call yourself whatever they are calling themselves. And this is the time we have to stop that. They say silence is the key. No, silence is not the key anymore. Because they think they can go out there. That one in Hong Kong will go out and run his mouth, talk all type of rubbish. People listen. The interim government is playing the government position by being calm, not making all those noises. But I think I've said it to the president, and I will blame him because this guy is good to a fault. President Sako is good to a fault.
Yes, we agree with you.
Yes,
Agree with you.
I will blame it on him, and I have told him that they don't do diplomacy in house. Diplomacy is foreign policy. You do it outside. So I'm not going to do diplomacy with ADF or with Moritz. I do diplomacy with other countries and La République du Cameroon if possible, but not in-house, not in Amazonia.
Yes, we agree with you. But it seems like Chuayaba has been in the news recently. I mean, he's currently in the news. In fact, our next news report would be on him. And from your statement, I understand that you have already, you've sat one-on-one with him, and so you have a lot to say about him. Then I'm wondering, you know, during your interactions with him, what do you think is his actual problem?
Well, you will never know Ayaba's problem. As I've said, I've met with Ayaba 3 good times. Here in my house, we were in Berlin, and in Nigeria. I mean, if he sits and talk with you, you will go out and say, yes, I've met a good guy. This guy, I mean, he has that charisma in talking with people. You can abuse him, you can do whatever you talk as he's seated in front of you. You will not see him show his anger, anything. But immediately you and him decide on something. As he leaves you there, he's doing something else. And I've made that known to the Amazonia people. But it's just that some of us are so carried with names, you know. Before 2017, that this revolution really left ground zero and came to the diaspora. That started here in this very Berlin. Here, almost 10,000 people came out here to bring this revolution out of ground zero, which I did the organization. I organized that with a group of people like Ma Mary, Joel Zama, and other people I cannot call them here today. But we did it. He himself was still here. That time, everybody was for ADF or Sokadef, APLM. You know, they two, Akwanga and Ayaba, they were the two running around, getting money from everywhere. Even when Ayoktabe came in, it was his business game that he was playing, and we were there like government people, we knew nothing. But when this president came into the whole show, we have people like Oswald, who is in the UK there. He will stand and tell people here there is an operation that is going to be carried out there. They need $25,000. This is how Germany, France, people here in Europe. In fact, the revolution was boiling here in Europe before. Now it's gone over to the USA. And I'm sure that's why the Marietta, who is now having a group of people call herself president, gossiped me behind telling President Sarko that I want to create a government in Europe. Yeah? Today she's having a government or a group that have made her president. That is somebody who wanted. So that time we were hearing just these two names, Joe Ayaba, Akwanga. So when President Sarko came in, wanted now to get all the settings of what is going on, what is the money being done, how is it being used, what accountability and everything. That's where everything scattered. And today he's so hated, wanted to do the right thing. And when all this game started behind talking about his buying plot with CDC and all those things, next time when I come on this ABC, I will bring audio that I was talking with the president, and I told him, I called him Mullah. All these things that these people are talking, if it is true, I will be the person to kill you. I swear to my mother who is now inside the grave.
All right.
They promised us that they will bring evidence. We got everything of evidences, everything. We will get this, we hear talk. And today, where is it? Even one. There's nothing. And they want me to follow them like a sheep. I don't follow such crowd. I decide I'm a person with principles. I stand on my principles. And until I see that you are right before I can tell you. If you're wrong, I will tell you.
Please keep standing on those principles, Dr. Ellard. Now, just to mention, we do not refer to our brothers back home as Ground Zero. We don't refer to them as Ground Zero anymore. President Samuel Ikome ensured that we don't refer to that home front as Ground Zero. So it's home front. I realize you were making use of Ground Zero a lot in your statement.
And indeed, yes, in regards to what you were saying, Dr. Ellard, a couple of times, and I've mentioned before, certain people tend to feel the struggle for liberation is all about positions and ranks and, trying to put out some relevance and forgetting that your impact to the struggle for liberation would actually give you that relevance instead of just basically looking for ranks and positions. Like you mentioned, someone was talking about why don't you go for a higher position and all of that. And that's what people tend to miss or not understand about the whole struggle. And your video to the lockdown is very, very essential. And that's why I think I believe you are done with what you were saying. I think we should just move on with the news in regards to Joe Ayaba's 30-day lockdown that he declared, which is a no-no, which wasn't even working, which didn't count actually. We'll move on with the news.
Right after this break.
We the people, ABC Amba TV, Draft. Ambazonia Broadcasting Corporation. The voice of the voiceless. The voice of Ambazonia. Connecting the world from Africa. With untold stories. Africa's best.
Now, last week we brought you a report that Joe Ayaba, a self-imposed leader of Ambazonia, of course, but not, who is in actual fact an agent of the enemy, La Republique du Cameroon, has directed a 30 days lockdown. Why would he want to do that? What does he want to achieve? How will our fathers, mothers, and the youth in general sit at home for a month for no cars? It's unheard of. It's unacceptable. We are not just the ones rejecting the IG, rejecting this. The IG has also distanced itself from it. But let's think about it deeply. How do you expect adults to sit at home for 30 days?
That's a really good question. For a moment, you sounded like our news director there for a moment. And for an imposter who is being castigated, who's castigating on audios and messages that have gone viral on social media all over home front since Friday, July 29, 2022, for usurping powers to call for an uncalled for lockdown. From these audios and messages, Ambazonians expressed their disappointment with the said Choayaba, an opportunist, an imposter, a sellout, and a blackleg out to seek for notice. Out to auction 8 million Ambazonians into perpetual slavery to La Republic du Cameroon. Well, from these audios and messages, Ambazonians are more than ever vexed with the said Choayaba, whom they see as a bloodthirsty contractor, trading with over 40,000 innocent Ambazonian lives killed by the genocider La Republic du Cameroon.
Bonafide Ambazonians have expressed their anger at this man because all along he has been engaged in dubious deals with his so-called ADF specialized in killings, kidnappings, ransom takings, and instead of fighting to liberate homeland, they kill ARS and extort the Ambazonian population. Joe Ayeba, for over the years with his ADF, have proven beyond every reasonable doubt that they stand for a one and indivisible Cameroon. Well, recently he has advocated for an Anglophone president, which according to our in-house analyst, Nijo, who is the SOS for Resource Mobilization, and Mr. Ta, ABC News Director, they think that that is not needed by Southern Cameroon's Ambazonians at this time.
His team has been with the oppressor against the oppressed Ambazonians, and it is no longer a secret that Ayaba and his La Republic du Cameroon team, led by Colonel Bamkwi, have been working hand in glove against the liberation struggle. Unfortunately for them, they have met stiff resistance from a visionary, focused, resilient, and no-nonsense president of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia, Dr. Samuel Ikome Sako, who in one of the audios has warned his people on home front to redouble vigilance and be ready to nip such maneuvers in the bud.
Now, the home front must know that until otherwise declared by the IG, only Monday's rest days, known as Country Sundays, remains in vogue. Everyone on the home front should close their eyes and ears from such distractions from the likes of Cho Ayaba, and the ARF should remain on maximum alert to check infiltrators and react accordingly. Now we have some pictures and some video clips for you to show you that our brothers and sisters at the home front went about their regular activities. All right, Dr. Kizito Elada, it's been amazing having you here with us today in the studio. As you can see, the home front did not listen to that order. What would be your final thought and comment, please?
Well, you guys have already said it. This interim government is working hard to make sure that we pave our way and we move smoothly to Boya. And the home front people should have confidence with this IG and to know that there are some of us in this interim government who will tell them the truth. If anything is going wrong, be it being done by the president or any other person, we will tell them. We won't hide anything. So we are not here to praise or hail people. We are here to fight La République du Cameroon and regain our independence and have a free life like what people are so-called doing in the diaspora. So I am advising each and every Amazonian, even those living in the diaspora who have somehow been discouraged, calling that word in-house fighting. Please go and revolutions. These things happen. We are humans. That's why I am called Kizito. And some other person is called Sako. Another one is called Eric Ate. So we cannot be one. Even inside our own houses, we have all the in-house fighting that people, that word has become the best word for Amazonians. In-house fighting. Even someone who is not even saying anything or doing anything for the revolution will tell you, oh, doctor, was the in-house fighting over, you don't just discourage me. When are you discouraged? When you have not even started, you just discouraged. Do something before you become discouraged. So please, Amazonians, support the home front. You are not supporting Dr. Elad, President Sako, whoever you think you're doing. You are supporting the home front. Your contribution, your drafting, what you're doing for the revolution, physically, mentally, is all for the home front. So my advice is keep the faith, keep the flame burning, don't give up. Nobody is more than you. Don't listen to all those names because I hear they say some of our elders in Amazonia, and I want to hear they put name Magi Kilo, Professor Anyangwe. Yes, when it comes to age, they are bigger. But when it comes to the fight, they are not. Let's fight for our freedom. That is my advice. Don't listen to all those people who are out there to spoil the revolution.
Oh, all right, Dr. Elad Kizito, thank you so much. It is always a pleasure to have you here, Onyi. I think you want to say something.
No, of course, it's a pleasure to have you here. And I'm sure that you're going to be available on Thursday or whenever we request for your attention. Thank you so much. And I'm sure that we'll get to Boya finally.
Thank you, guys. Keep up with this, your great job, and I'm enjoying your news. In fact, I will confess that I was somebody who was not watching news from whether it's ABC or whatever, but now I don't watch CNN anymore. I don't watch BBC. I watch ABC because I get everything and detail with my own accent and my own voices. So it makes me really be inside, like involved in the whole news and seeing it happen in life. Thank you so much for your great job.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ella. That's a huge compliment. We'll continue with the news right after this break.
You're watching the People's Television, ABC Amba TV, the voice of Ambazonia. Stay tuned.
And now to the Department of Finance, Resource Mobilization and National Treasury. It has been revised the Award 22 County and Department draft schedule with particular emphasis on the counties for the month of August. All county and LGA chairs are expected to mobilize its people with this new date.
All right, so for the 6th of August, we have Boyo. 13th of August, Lebelem. 20th of August, we have DMC. 27th of August, we have Ungo Kentuja. 3rd of September, we have KMC. 3rd of September, we have Bui. 17th of September, Meme County. 24th of September, we have Momo. 8th of October, we have Indian. And of course, Metchum is on the 15th of October. FACO FCT is on the 22nd of October. HSS is on the 29th of October. DFA is on the 5th of November. So please, county chairs should take note of the new updated date. This information is from DHANT and DFRM. And now to sports. Premier League captains are in talks over the future of the pre-match anti-racism gesture of taking a knee before the new season begins on Friday. The captains have already held one meeting on the subject without reaching a resolution. Another will take place when they have consulted with their teammates. Players have been taking a knee before kick-off since the league restarted in June 2020 following the initial shutdown due to the COVID pandemic. However, Crystal Palace forward Wilfred Zaha stopped in February 2021, saying at the time that, in his words, I quote, "At the moment, it doesn't matter whether we kneel or stand, some of us still continue to receive abuse."
Several championship clubs, including Derby, Brentford, Bournemouth and Queen's Park Rangers, also stopped taking a knee around the time. Many players now feel taking a knee has lost its impact in terms of pushing the anti-racism message. The Premier League has pledged to follow the players' lead on the issue, with an announcement likely before Palace's encounter with Arsenal at Selhurst Park on Friday, actually. Well, Gab Ellison has more on this detail.
Latest world sports. Premier League captains in talks over whether to continue taking a knee. Premier League captains are in talks over the future of the pre-match anti-racism gesture of taking a knee before the new season begins on Friday. The captains have already held one meeting on the subject without reaching a resolution. Another will take place when they have consulted with their teammates. Players have been taking a knee before kickoff since the league restarted in June 2020 following the initial shutdown due to the COVID pandemic. However, Crystal Palace forward Wilfred Zaha stopped in February 2021, saying at the time that at the moment it doesn't matter whether we kneel or stand, some of us still continue to receive abuse. Several championship clubs, including Derby, Brentford, Bournemouth and Queen's Park Rangers, also stopped taking a knee around that time. Many players now feel taking a knee has lost its impact in terms of pushing the anti-racism message. The Premier League has pledged to follow the players' lead on the issue, with an announcement likely before Palace's encounter with Arsenal at Selhurst Park on Friday. Tennis. Andamora beating in Washington Open first round. Andamora's preparation for this month's US Open began with a first-round defeat at the Washington Open. The 35-year-old lost 7-6, 10-8, 4-6, 6-1 to Sweden's 115th ranked Mikael Ymer. Of his chances of being seeded for the US Open, the former world number 1 and current number 50 said, "It's still possible, but I'll need to certainly play better than I did." There were wins for Kyle Edmund and Jack Draper, but Katie Boulter was defeated in the Silicon Valley Classic. Boulter shocked 8-seed Karolina Pliskova by storming to the first set, only for the Czech to come through 1-6, 7-6, 6-3. Edmund beat Japan's Yosuke Watanuki 6-4, 7-6, 10-8 on his return to the ATP singles after a 20-month layoff to set up a meeting with compatriot Dan Evans. Edmund has had 3 left knee surgeries and was playing in his first tour-level singles match since October 2020. He said, "I didn't find it easy. I hung in there and I got my reward in the end. Draper beat American Stefan Kozlov 7-5, 6-2 to progress and will now face Russia's Andrei Rublev. Harriet Dart also lost in Washington with China's Zhu Lin winning 6-4, 6-3, while Emma Raducanu's professional doubles debut alongside Denmark's Clara Tauson ended in a 6-4, 6-1 loss to Romanian Monica Niculescu and Czech Lucy Radica. Seven-time Grand Slam champion Venus Williams, playing her first singles match in nearly a year, was also eliminated in the opening round in Washington, falling to Canadian qualifier Rebecca Marino 4-6, 6-1, 6-4. "It was nice to have the crowd behind me," said the 42-year-old. "Definitely a great experience, just trying to shake off some rust. That's just to be expected." Meanwhile, Kazakhstan's reigning Wimbledon champion Elena Rybakina lost 1-6, 6-2, 6-0 to 7th seed Daria Kazatkina at the WTA San Jose Hardcourt Tournament. Gab Ellison reporting from Undaunted, ABC Amba News.
And with that sports report, we have come to the end of Undaunted tonight. But before we go, here is a recap of our major stories.
The U.S. has killed the leader of Al-Qaeda, Ayman al-Zawahiri, in a drone strike in Afghanistan, President Joe Biden has confirmed. UN peacekeepers in deadly shooting in eastern DR Congo. UN force admitted deadly shooting at DR Congo border post. The interim government and entire home front distances themselves from a certain Joe Ayaba's call for a 1-month lockdown.
We gave you an updated county and departmental rota, which can be called the tentative schedules. And in sports, Premier League captain in talks over whether to continue taking a knee surgery. And that was it for tonight on Undaunted, bringing to the news on 12 stories. On behalf of Michael and Coach Smart and the entire Undaunted crew, we say thank you for tuning in. I am Oni Opala.
We'll leave you with ABC Amba TV images. Good night and God bless you.